Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name, 888-589-8840, a number to call. Just looking at the effort of people to actually sign up on Obamacare, it's an absolute catastrophic Chernobyl-style meltdown. It's turning into an absolute total implosion and total catastrophe. Now realize how they sucked the health insurance companies into this. You want to know why the health insurance companies were on board with Obamacare? Because President Obama said, look, I am going to drive 32 million brand new customers through your doors. This is going to be a windfall for you. You are going to make bank. You're going to be rolling into cashola because these people are going to come to you to buy insurance. I'm going to drive them. I'm going to drive them to you. I'm going to do that for you. And the health insurance companies were stupid enough to believe that, stupid enough to go along with it. I got a story from Louisiana. Blue Cross in Louisiana, they spent $60 million to be a part of the exchange. They've been preparing for the rollout for 3 years. They spent $60 million. You know how many people signed up on day one on the Louisiana Healthcare Exchange? Zip, nada, zero, nothing. So Blue Cross is out $60 million. And as of yesterday, maybe it's changed today, but as of yesterday, they didn't have one single solitary new customer to offset, to recoup their $60 million investment. California spent $313 million on their exchange. Their sign-up rate is just absolutely dismal. Here's an insurance manager in Allentown, Pennsylvania, said this: it's day 2 of healthcare reform, and we have yet to have someone successfully register on the marketplace. Here's a guy from Honolulu. I'm through with Hawaii Health Connector, said Richard Gamberg. They've got ads in the newspaper, ads on TV. It just flabbergasted me. He could not get online on Wednesday, couldn't find a way to sign up. In Oregon, officials said a faulty online calculator would not be fixed until late October. California, which has 15% of the nation's uninsured, they completely took down their enrollment portion of the Covered California website for emergency upgrades, went back online Wednesday morning. 7,000 people started applications by them, but absolutely no word about how many of those have been completed. And the Obama administration simply will not tell you how many people actually have signed up. Here's a piece from the Daily Mail Online, the UK. California, less than 1% of its web visits turned into Covered California participants on Tuesday. Their sign-up rate was 0.58%. Connecticut, their sign-up rate, people that visited the website and actually signed up, 0.59%. And if you look at the people that actually completed healthcare applications, in New York, it was a hit rate of 0.32%. So less than 1%, no matter where you look, less than 1% of the people that actually go to functioning websites actually wind up signing up. 36% of uninsured Americans do not plan to seek coverage through Obamacare. So this thing, I believe, is going to turn into an absolute total nightmare. I saw a Facebook post yesterday. I don't know if it's true or not. Guy said, I went online, I signed up. It was way too expensive. I got a pre-existing condition. I can't afford it. So I said, I'm not going to do it. I didn't take out the coverage. I got a note by 5 o'clock that afternoon telling me how much of a fine I was going to have to pay if I didn't sign up. Let's grab clip number 1. This is from the state of Tennessee, WSMV in Tennessee, and here is their experience in trying to cover the rollout of Obamacare.
And we're hearing not a single person locally has been successful getting through to the new health insurance exchange. It seems to be a problem, especially in states like Tennessee, where the state opted out and left it up to the federal government to run what is essentially an online shopping site. Channel 4's Nancy Amons has been digging for answers on these persistent problems. Nancy?
Again, as you just said, no one in Tennessee that I know of, according to the counselors I've talked to, has been able to successfully negotiate that federal website.
And as Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of Obamacare, would say,
I just see a huge train wreck.
Now, President Obama had this big rollout. He had a woman standing. He had 12 people he picked to stand behind him at this press conference on Tuesday to talk about the wonders of Obamacare. Her name is Jean Bagel or Bagel. I'm not sure how you say her name. She was one of the dozen people standing on the podium with President Obama. According to the Washington Post, she is no longer a fan. She earns $8,000 a year running a cleaning business, would likely qualify for completely subsidized health care, but she has given up signing up for coverage. It's a little bit confusing, she said, after 2 unsuccessful attempts to sign up for insurance, once on Tuesday, once on Wednesday. It's not so great. As Senator Max Baucus, the author of this legislation, would say,
I just see a huge train wreck.
Now here's the Washington Post. The Washington Post, they want to do a big feature piece on people that have signed up for Obamacare. They can't find anybody. This is amazing to me. Washington Post, Sarah Cliff, this is from this morning. If you have purchased health care coverage on the federal government's new Obamacare marketplace, about a dozen or so reporters would like to speak with you. We just need to find you first. The federal government has said, this is the Washington Post now, the federal government has said that somewhere out in this vast country of 313 million people, where 48 million lack insurance coverage, someone has managed to sign up for health insurance on the federally run marketplace. As of yet, we haven't tracked this person or these people down. This is not for lack of effort. Reporters here at the Washington Post and at other publications have been on the hunt for this mythical creature. And the mythical creature, they've got a unicorn on the website because that's what they think this mythical creature is who supposedly signed up for Obamacare. They think it's a mythical creature. They think that that person doesn't exist even more than the unicorn exists. And they did get some emails from people. Here's somebody, I'm trying to sign up my wife for an individual policy, and it's still basically impossible. I tried to create the account again, was told my username already existed for another account. Another email, I know you're looking for success stories, but in case it's helpful to your article, I've been trying for the past 2 days just to create an account, and I can't do it. In the immortal words of Max Baucus, the author of this piece of legislation,
I just see a huge train wreck.
And then here's a story from Blue Cross of Louisiana. Not one person has successfully enrolled in the new plan. This is despite the fact Blue Cross spent 3 years and $60 million preparing for this thing. In the words of Senator Max Baucus,
I just see a huge train wreck.
Now, what I think this is going to be is it's going to be a train wreck for the insurance companies, frankly, because they are anticipating this flood of paying customers. And Obama's saying, hey, we're going to have all these subsidies. You're going to have taxpayers that are going to be taking care of the insurance premiums of your customers. You're not even going to have to go after them for it. We'll send it directly to you. We, the government, we will pay for their insurance premiums. You're going to be making bank on this deal. They're going to go bankrupt. I see this as a huge recipe for the total bankruptcy of one health insurance company after another. Blue Cross in Louisiana doesn't look like they're going to hardly get a dime of their $60 million back. California said they had 5 million people went to their website on Monday. The true figure was around 645,000. Connecticut had 24 people enrolled in their program by noon on Tuesday. The one in Kentucky had about 1,000 people that were in process. And the guy in Connecticut was bragging that a whole 126 people actually signed up for Obamacare. In the words of Senator Max Baucus,
I just see a huge train wreck.
It is not working. It's going to be result in the bankruptcy, trust me, of any number of healthcare companies. Let's go back to the phones. Grab a call from Ricky in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Ricky, welcome. What's on your mind?
Thank you, Brian. I get 80 to 90% of my news from you. The rest is David Barton, Tony Perkins, and Point of View, but not 80 to 90% comes from you. And so what I'm about to tell you, you really can't deny it. There was massive, unbelievable, untold of fraud for Obama's election and fraud for Harry Reid. They did. I hear you time and time again. Oh, I'll vote. No, I'll vote to not put him in office. The George Soros and the ungodly Democrat Party, through fraud, got Obama and Harry Reid elected. Our votes did not count in those two elections.
Yeah.
They got there by fraud, and I heard it on your radio station.
Well, and you're exactly right. I'm saying they're in there now. They're sworn in. There's not anything we can do about that. But I agree with you. President Obama, his election probably ought to have an asterisk by it because, Ricky, you're pointing out the fraud involved the IRS, the use of the IRS, power of the IRS to keep Tea Party groups from getting funded, from getting their status. It kept them from being a player in the 2012 election. So that's probably the reason that Barack Obama won that election, just as you say, it was by fraud. And, to hitchhike on what you're saying, Ricky, who fights these voter ID laws? It's Democrats. Why would you fight a voter ID law? The only reason you would fight a voter ID law is you want to cheat. Well, who is it that's fighting these voter ID laws? It's liberals, one after another. So I agree with you, Ricky. I understand. I understand exactly what you're saying. That's why I think, these voter ID laws are so important because we have to maintain the integrity of the electoral process. We need to make sure that every single vote counts and that nobody votes unless they are legally eligible to do so. All right, Ricky, listen, I appreciate your concern, appreciate your passion. Let's go to George, Jefferson County, Missouri. George, welcome. What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing, Brian?
Good.
Thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you.
I think Obama, with all this Obamacare, if the Republicans the House doesn't play ball with him, I think he's having a meltdown. Really, I think all these they're ready to blink. I think they're really ready to have a meltdown. He needs to. I think he needs to be removed. He is gone.
Mm-hmm. Well,
why you would do this to World War II veterans? If George Bush would have done this, they would have put his rear end out of there so fast it wouldn't have been.
Yeah. Well, and I think you're right, George. I think they realized they completely misplayed that whole veterans thing, the war memorial thing. They completely misplayed that. They're trying to find some way to, finesse that thing. They're saying this is closed except for First Amendment activities. So they found a way to kind of justify letting the veterans come to these memorials. But we still don't have the Park Service saying we're not going to arrest them. So I agree. And we'll play a soundbite. Clip 10, Rob, coming out of the break, Rand Paul talking to Mitch McConnell. And Rand Paul thinks that they can win this thing. I think they're right. Back in 2.